Emily Gomer.
Welcome everybody to.
She'll be right back. You are a happy show. Emily's getting us started.
That's right. Welcome everybody to our fourth You Are a Happy show with Melanie Workirka. This show is part of the World of Ability Podcast Network. And special thanks to Marcus, Jay, Zach, and Lawrence for having this on their platform. So I am going to pass over to Melanie to get started. I think we're talking about mental fitness, but
yeah,
pass it over to Melanie to get started here.
Perfect. Hi, everybody. For those who don't know me, my name is Melanie. I am actually a national certified personal trainer, corrective exercise specialized, been in the field for over 33 years. You can say I am a fitness expert. But something that struck my mind, rather than just fitness, and going to the gym and worrying about weight loss and worrying about your physical fitness, is how do you also take care of your mental fitness? Because those two kind of go together. And without one, the other doesn't really exist. But mental fitness is kind of a new term out there, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have a mental illness, right? Because I know, I'm pretty sure Kurt can nod his head. In the days when we were growing up, if you said mental fitness, you were basically considered you needed to be institutionalized. So it's a lot different now that we can talk about the mental aspects of fitness, because the mental aspects of fitness can actually stop you from going to the gym. It can stop you from walking, to going outside. It can stop you from eating what you're supposed to be eating to make your body work better, to feel more energy. And all of a sudden, then we don't do what we're supposed to do, and we're complaining. We have low energy. We can't get out of bed. My body hurts. So the mental and physical part of fitness is so important. And when I was in the gym training, a lot of times the people who couldn't lose weight the most were the ones that had the mental struggle to lose weight. They would go out with their friends the night before and they would totally blow everything. But instead of jumping back into their routine, they had a mental block up and they went backwards instead of forwards. So mental fitness is a lot of how do we not keep going backwards, and how do we keep moving forward with our everyday life? So I'm actually going to read you a definition of mental fitness. So mental fitness is more than the absence of mental illness. It's beyond self-care and recovery. It's about growth and thinking, feeling, and performing at our very best in all areas. Mental fitness is developed by equipped people to treat mental health as something that they can strengthen and improve. So that's a big variety, if you ask me, right? That's a huge variety of people who get stuck. I know many times myself, and I don't know about Emily or Kurt, that I've gotten stuck in my journey, that I couldn't move forward, that I felt like it was useless. It was not even something that I wanted to do as a trainer. And even at one point, after having kids, I was on a lot of medication to stop preterm labor, and the medication did not do my body good. And I actually went up 60 pounds. The medication just took over my body. It shut some parts down. It shut communication down between my body. And I, no matter what I was doing, could not lose weight, which then plays on the mental aspect, because I didn't come from a supportive family. I came from a family that would call me fat, that would tell me I was lazy, that tell me I wasn't doing stuff right, to tell me that I need to, Goya, get off your assets, right? and it didn't necessarily work. And that played on the mental part. Why wasn't I getting back to where I was? Why wasn't I feeling the best that I felt? Why wasn't I able to do it when I'm supposed to be an expert in this field? Right? Why wasn't I? So, because it's not always about calories in and calories out. And that took me a long time to understand that, because as a trainer that started back in the early 90s, it was calories in, calories out, no fat, low fat. It did me no good. It actually taught me how to eat more sugar, to tell you the truth. But it didn't take care of the mental aspect of anything. I was still having struggles outside, still having self-esteem issues, still having mental aspects. And there's some different things, components that actually can help with this. Not help with this, but inhibit this. It can be genetics, right? It can be anything with genetics that can make you gain weight. It can be medication. Sometimes medication that you're on, as I'm a former EMT, I had to go to EMT school in order to it was one of the requirements for the degree I was going after. I was going after athletic training degree. But what they'll do is, if the body thinks it's under stress, it'll actually wrap fluid around your organs to protect it. So sometimes weight gain is from medication. It's from your body thinking it can't communicate in any way. So I'm just going to protect my body and wrap fluid around. And that's why you see some people that have excess fluid that's in there. It could be injuries, physical injuries, allergies, food allergies, medication allergies, could be a lot of that. And then hormones is another big one. And hormones, not just for women, because that was something that was a hush, don't talk about, but there's also hormones for men as well. And that actually, a lack of hormones for men can lead to decreased muscle tone. So, such as men are in the gym and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, right? But no matter what, when they hit about age 50, that they can no longer build muscle no matter what they try. I kind of use Arnold Schwarzenegger as a reference, just because you look at how he was and then how he is, right? So he hit that level to where there's not a balance in the body, and the body cannot produce muscle anymore because the hormones are so off balance. And women do the same thing. Women gain weight for no reason. I always laugh at the fact that I could look at food and gain weight. Not even eat it. I could look at food and gain it. And that's part of the hormonal imbalance that happens inside teenagers. So I have 4 kids, and almost all except one have had some form of eating disorder. Excuse me. They have had, I have my oldest has cerebral palsy. So he was actually, in the beginning, when he was a teenager, couldn't gain weight for anything. He would eat everything under the sun. And then he got into CrossFit, right? And then he started gaining weight when he was doing CrossFit. But I'm not talking gaining muscle, right? I'm talking gaining weight. Like we laughed because it looked like he had a Grinch belly. But what we found out through him is if he wasn't having enough caloric intake with him. He was doing 2 days. He was working at trying to get into the CrossFit Games, and he actually wasn't eating enough. So that's not an aspect that you always think about, that when you add a high physical activity and you can actually gain weight, they're not eating enough. But I'm not talking bags of chips, and I'm not talking Snickers, because they have those cute little sayings on there to try to attract you, right, to eating it. I'm talking enough caloric intake, which means macros and micros, which we're not going to get into that because that's like way beyond anything. But then once you start gaining weight, right, it's a mental aspect that you have to take care of. There's a mental like trigger in your brain that almost turns on and off, right? Example, I don't want to go to gym today. I have too much to do. I just can't go. And then that carries on from day to day. So that trigger isn't turned back on and off to make you want to go. So then Josie, that's my second, had an eating disorder. She's a dancer. And she had an eating disorder. She was bullied, and I mean bullied so bad in school through third grade, through seventh grade, and through freshman in high school. So by the time it got to freshman in high school, she was in the corner. The nurse called me because they couldn't pull her out of her state. She was in the corner of the nurse's office, shaking back and forth, saying, I can't do this again. I can't go through this again. I can't go through this again. I can't go through this again. So she stopped eating. Her nerves in her stomach were so bad that anytime she would eat, it would cause pain in her gut. It would cause pain in her stomach. And she couldn't eat as well. And then I had my other daughter who was having stomach issues too. And she was a high level soccer player who stopped eating because anytime she ate. And what we found out is this is stress hormones that were causing these triggers in her body that anytime she put stuff in. So the gut and the brain were not talking, were not shut down complete communication. And the brain was sending signals saying that anytime you put food inside your body, that your stomach is going to hurt. And it was a lot of other like teenage stuff going on that we had to really cipher through and, hire a person for them to talk to so they can get through the mental fitness aspect of it. So that's what I'm kind of talking about with mental fitness is sometimes that these people that you think are on the top of their game, like they are doing everything right and they look like they're doing everything right. They need to take care of their mental fitness. So who was the gymnast that had trouble with that? Remember? She was in the Olympics. She couldn't compete.
You're talking about Simone Biles?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a great example of not taking care of mental fitness. Right? So she had her whole physical fitness done in front of her, and she was training and working and training, but she didn't take care of the mental side of her until it was put in front of her face, until she was literally smacked upside the face with it, right? And then all of a sudden she had to face the mental aspect of her fitness. So she had to, for those of you who are not familiar, she had something that was almost a brain block in her brain. There was no communication going on, that anytime she did a spin, that she wouldn't stop spinning. Can you imagine that? You're an athlete and you just spin, you can't stop spinning. So how do you take care of the mental aspect of your fitness? There's a couple different ways you can do that. You can hire somebody to talk to, which 2 of my kids already have therapists that they talk to, and that has done them absolute wonders. You can find something like Amari, to where it opens up the gut brain heart hormone connection and get your body to start communicating to each other, to help move your body forward when it's stuck, and to realize that you need help and to ask for help when it is needed. It's not easy to ask for help. I know I'm a person that wants to do everything myself and figure everything out myself. And I got this, right? I always say that I got this. But there's sometimes when You don't got this, and it's okay to not have it. I always say it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to not ask for help. So whether it be a supplement that you get on to help you, talking with somebody, or just changing up certain aspects of your physical fitness to equal a good mental fitness routine. And I have on here my phone, I made sure, you got 10 healthy habits for mental fitness. And some of them I have done, but you got to remember, just because I did it doesn't mean that it's not going to work for you. And you really want to really hound in on that. So choose a positive attitude. That's one of them. A positive attitude is something that you have to choose. There's so much negative out there, and negativity actually is talked about more than positivity. So choosing to be positive is huge because that can change your mindset. I'm not letting that negative stuff come in, right? Schedule me time daily. Now, me time looks different for every single person, but I'm not talking go out with your girlfriends as me time. I'm talking you sit there and you really focus on breathing. You focus on you focus on something that you love to do that brings you so much joy, that brings you back to how you want to actually feel. Reward yourself. So reward yourself. I'm not talking go out to Starbucks. I'm talking reward yourself as an, you know what? I did good today. I'm going to go for that extra walk. I'm going to do something that helps with my mental fitness. I'm going to, pet my dog. I'm going to do something that you feel great after doing. Okay. If that's Starbucks and you go for your Starbucks, right? Practice meditation and get enough sleep. So they say that women need about an hour average more sleep than men. But how do you do that? You have to calm down your mind. And this is something that I've had to practice and practice and practice, because a lot of things sometimes happen right before you go to bed. And if you don't take care of it, your mind's going to be racing all night long. So try to take care of those. Sometimes using some form of sleep aid that doesn't damage your gut can be an absolute great thing. Set goals, stay on target, and journal. Now, I'm not a big journal person, but I know it has helped some of my kids to where they write every single little thought down. But setting goals is a great thing. Give yourself something to look forward to. Make them realistic. Make them to where you can actually hit those goals. Make them to where the goals are absolutely, you're going to be rewarded for it. So such as one of my goals recently is if I lose 10 pounds, I get to go use that gift card I have to Athleta, but I don't get to use it before then. So set goals that make you excited about something. Ask for help and offer to help. So that's a little tricky. So asking for help, yes, absolutely. Offering to help only if you're in the right state of mind. Because sometimes people can sense if you're not in the right state of mind. And I know I have been taken full advantage of, and it has set me back tenfold. So just be aware of the people who honestly want your help, not take advantage of your help. So that's a huge thing. Get physically active. Get out there, enjoy nature, enjoy a walk with your dog, enjoy something. It doesn't have to be a 1 hour fitness class to where you're going. Ride your bike, do something you absolutely love. If there is a pond down the street, go ride your bike to the pond. Have a great time doing it. De-stress your diet. So this is actually a great topic, especially with a trainer. De-stressing your diet. What exactly does that mean? Don't stress eat. So if you are in a high stress situation and you find yourself running for that bag of chips, run the other way, right? Don't eat the stuff as a stressor, because you're going to continue. Your brain's going to crave that. Your body's automatically going to go to that food for when you're in a stressful situation. So, when you're in a stressful situation, use something else instead of food that's going to help you not gain as much weight. And that's something that you have to really figure out. If you're a food journal, if you are gaining weight, is a good thing. Write down what you're eating and when you're eating it, because sometimes when you're in high stress situation, you don't even realize that you're stress eating. Are you coming on here, Kurt? Is that what I see you doing? And then the last
I just didn't want to seem unavailable, so
yeah, chime in here. I mean, anytime. The last one here is press pause once in a while, and downscaling is good. It's okay to every once in a while veg out and watch your favorite show, right? It's okay every once in a while to have time to yourself. It's okay to tell people, no, I'm not going out today, and just be with yourself. So what are your thoughts, Kurt? What do you think? What do you think of this mental fitness thing?
Well, I think Emily will have a lot to offer here, but I'll let her as podcast engineer spotlight herself when she's ready to add to our conversation, but I'm counting on her. But in the meantime,
you're counting on her. Well, you probably see this a lot though with your adaptive ski, right? Because there can be such a fear before you start something new.
Oh, absolutely. I'm dealing with that because, if you're a person that lives life with paralysis and then you got a guy coming up to you and saying, hey, I'll throw you on this sit ski and take you out skiing. I'll get you up to the middle of the lake, come on out. It's kind of like, okay, gonna be on a sit ski out in the middle of the lake with this guy, what's this guy all about here? So yeah, there's a process for somebody to learn, all of the safety aspects in place, and then to see their peers, their diverse ability athletes and other people who rely on for their life's sake, to be like, okay, going out with this crew in the middle of the lake, is this thing, legit and what I can count on? So once they start seeing other people, put that faith in their group, then they kind of start warming up to it. It's just about understanding it, making a highly informed decision. So the videos help, talking through it helps, suggesting you just come out and just be a fan cheering. And if you get inspired to go out while you're at the event, not planning on it, and you say, you know what, I'm ready to go out there, and you weren't planning on it, we'll get you in the rotation, and go. But I also am thinking of, other things in life. We're working on projects for like suicide ideation and stuff like that. I was talking earlier I'm a member of Optimist International. Optimist International is friend of youth, bringing out the best in kids. Every Optimist Club, we say, is formed to serve the youth, the community, and ourselves. And, the ever-present issue, across education is bullying, like with teen children and so forth. So it's a relationship aspect, because there are the times where you have your private time, and it gives you a chance to enter into self-care, whether you're somebody that takes a prayer, if you meditate, just going out for a walk, maybe you've got a pet who, has a little therapeutic effect. I mean, there's all of these things that play in, and we've got some friends who, are in this space where they talk about brain health. So when you talk about mental fitness, some of it is that, body, mind, soul, how it all kind of works together. And that if you're working on all cylinders, you've got the, mental fitness, but then you've got the, you're really feeling, full in your soul, and you really feel that energy, that comes through your soul to, really give you that, oomph in your life. And, and then like in your heart, kind of your feelings and kind of your attitude and your scruples and stuff like this, that, what are your reactions? So like, say with bullying, the way I'm speaking to it is to say, like, say at school, students will see another peer, another classmate, another friend being bullied by another friend. And then, so the principal will deal with it. They'll be disciplined. And that's just kind of how they get through it. So I'm speaking to it to say, well, what about this adage of it takes a village to raise a child? So where is this stuff showing itself in our faith space? You know, does it seem like a teen is disengaged and not really getting into the worship experience or whatever, you know, and where is that coming from? You know, or is somebody being taunted for the faith community that they're in? You know, and then the service sector, like our Lions Club, I mentioned Optimus, and, you know, people can name their favorite nonprofit. You know, or is a person, or if we're talking about youth, you know, are these teens or younger kids getting involved in these things? And if they're not getting involved, is it just because it's not their nature, or is there something else that they're dealing with that they just don't need that extra of being around other people?
Right.
They have their own issues, you know, to deal with. And then, you know, the education of this, you know, like this show that You Are Happy show here, you know, where else are people getting this information? Because I find even talking to professionals that they could use some help to have this more readily available in their professional
Yes.
serving youth or whatever people are doing in the service sector, serving another person, where navigating how well somebody else participates in the conversation or not, you know, these are issues, you know, that we can think about. And then, you know, in the business community, like with employees, you know, something's not happening in the workplace because an employee is dealing with something at home, you know.
Right.
So that's happening with me with a friend that, you know, because of some things that she's dealing with, she's taking time off from work. But then it also is affecting, because there's communication, there's text coming into her phone, and then there's the emails, and you know, this distraction away from work. You know, because we're dealing with stuff that, you know, is coming from other people, not feeling the love from other people. And then how do we, so that could be kind of a double whammy. You may already be dealing with something, and then somebody else throws something upon you, and it adds insult to injury. So now you have two parties that need help, you know, when you're dealing. And then, yeah, when you bring up the water skiing, all the fun things in life, you know, how is that, you know, working out for you to get out there? When we say work to live, how well are you feeling empowered to do that? And like with suicide prevention, that's one of the ways people who want to help try to figure out, is there a way to help this person get out and have some fun? Because maybe that will help shift the mindset from these things that weigh on the person that drive them to suicide ideation. But, you know, it's more involved than that, because anytime you just go for a diversion or a distraction, it just is a matter of time before the cycle goes back to, okay, now they're back to their own time, and then they struggle. So you have to do and resilience, and, you know, what are we giving people that when they're on their own and for self-help, self-care, what process do they have for themselves to get out of that? Like you mentioned, exercise, go to the gym.
Well, and that's where Amari comes in handy too, because when you're alone is some of the, you know, when your mind takes over, and you have to, Mari helps your brain communicate to be able to move forward and not get stuck in the past or not get stuck backwards. So you know, you have to just keep those, as you said, those gears winding, and for you to keep moving forward. And that's what it did with my son with suicide. It just made him move forward enough to ask for help. You know, he was just able to just that little bit ask for help, and that's what helped him in the long run. But if it wasn't for something like Amari, I don't think he would have been able to, because that helped the brain and gut communicate just enough. And in the beginning, because it takes a while to work to get him to ask for help. So, mhm,
Yeah, I'm hearing that you definitely need to lean on something, which
right.
the product definitely does that. I would like to pose though that, no matter what people have to work with, not trying to dodge the issue of the great thing to put the products that you're talking about into play, but there's always a way to accomplish, mental health, brain health, mental fitness, positivity, coping with grieving, assistance going through a grieving
Yep.
process. There's always a way to do so. I mean, because obviously people have been dealing with this since the beginning of humankind. And,
Correct.
um,
Mhm.
and some of this comes from what we've learned about the shortfall of how we maybe dealt with this 60, 70 years ago versus today. So we're evolving now. There's definitely that part.
Yeah. I'll
Emily,
tell you it's different too with technology because I don't know about you, Kurt. I'm so happy stuff from 1980 something is not coming back to haunt me these days. But everything these kids are doing these days is going to come back to haunt them because there's usually a camera or video or something in their face when they're doing something wrong or they're having a bad day. So yeah,
which means compassion is at play, and a lot of the buzzwords of the last decade has been authenticity, or at least for me. Maybe it's been
Yeah.
longer than that, but I've been hearing it more myself in my sphere, and what I've been paying attention to, authenticity, being genuine, and being a man. Forces in the world kind of nudging a man to be willing to be more vulnerable when when you look at all of the legends and chivalry, stuff like that, of stories told. The role of the man, it has been a little bit guarded, a little bit
yes.
masculine,
Mhm.
and a little bit with a male ego type of
Mhm.
thing. So yeah, with what you're talking about, it's exposing the circumstances of a person a little bit more than we're used to. So yeah, we are evolving. How are we dealing with it? So Emily, how do you deal with it?
Um,
She was looking to see if she's muted.
Yeah. Like, oh, I was just looking at those text messages. Now I gotta talk about you are happy. So here we go. How do you make how are you happy? So we go from you are happy to how are you happy?
I'm happy being here with both of you right now.
All right. So what do you do to bring yourself mental fitness? Has that ever been anything for you, or is this a new thing with Melanie here? Is this the You Are Happy show is giving you the idea of mental fitness, or what does mental fitness mean to you?
One thing mental health is a very important topic to not really be taken lightly. And are you gonna say something, Kurt?
Well, what is the difference between mental health and mental fitness? What's the difference?
Uh, Trying to stump me here. I thought I knew the difference.
No, it's okay. There's no right or wrong because it a right or wrong can bring on great conversations. So tell us what you think. Yeah.
And you can start with what's the difference between health and fitness? Like the word health versus the word fitness, the difference between the two words.
Well, I think like health is kind of the it's kind of the like overall like picture with like what you eat, kind of like the whole kind of like lifestyle
Mhm.
kind of thing. Like and fitness is like one of those things. Like the like health encompasses a lot of things.
Yeah,
So are you separating them or are you putting them together? 'Cause it sounds like you're putting them together as like or are they two separate things to you?
I think
The
that
reason I
that
say
one was
is
sort of,
because-
sort of combining them in a sense.
Yeah, because the reason I brought that up is
Well,
because
because I think that they're both connected
Yeah.
in a sense.
because here's something that was just said is health and fitness, and then when you say mental fitness,
Yeah, so to me, when we say mental health, we're talking about the overall description condition, kind of like when you say, how are you doing? Kind of get that general, state of, how a person is doing in mental health and emotion and the general thing. When you talk about mental fitness, now that suggests something a little bit more assertive, a little bit more purposeful, more of a regiment, a little bit more robust. And yeah, to me, I think mental fitness is a part of maintaining your mental health. Because I think, Emily, you're right. That mental health is that general plateau, like what's your homeostasis, what's your baseline, and mental fitness, like when I talk about resilience and so forth. So yeah, it all can fit under mental health. But when you start talking about more specifics of mental fitness, like say using the products,
Mhm.
to me, that kind of drives more mental fitness. That's the more immediate step, is it serves the mental fitness, which then by the end of it all, it levels out that you're experiencing an ongoing. So it's kind of like chronic and acute.
Yep.
Like in medicine, we say chronic conditions, chronic illnesses, and then acute episodes, things that happen all of a sudden, like if you have a heart attack or something, that acute experience. Mental fitness to me deals with more of those spikes and more of the challenges, more of the energy, more of the coping mechanisms, your ability to deal with those undulations, psychology. That's more mental fitness, which, like you said, Emily, it goes under the umbrella of mental health. But to me, mental fitness is the more practical term, how somebody can do something in the short term to achieve short-term goals.
Yeah, what I was kind of getting to too is back even 10 years ago, it was health and fitness, where now it's kind of combined more mental fitness because you had an and in there, which means they were separated when they were actually should have gone together. Health fitness should have gone together rather than being two separate entities. Because you really, without the mental aspect of fitness, you're just going in circles. You're going in these huge circles that you really can't move as forward as you want to if you're not bringing in the mental aspect of your fitness.
Yeah, I think mental fitness again speaks more towards the functional benefit, that if you're going to pay a few $100s to achieve something, I think mental fitness gives that little bit of where we are today, instant gratification. And so when you're entering into a mental fitness program, or you're going to do something for your mental fitness, it's, to me, it speaks towards more instant gratification. Like to go to the gym,
Yeah.
for physical fitness, there's physical health, which is again that umbrella term, kind of how you're doing things in the long run, and that thing that's kind of your character, like throughout the whole year, you say your mental health is, or your physical health, versus physical fitness. That's where you could go on that roller coaster. You could, like during the summer, like I'm a water skier, so my physical fitness may be a little bit stronger during the summer because I'm hitting out there twice a week, and I'm doing that extra activity that I'm not doing, during the winter time. I'm not doing that. So fitness might be better, but my health might be generally the same, maybe a little decline. If you lose fitness, yeah, your health might slump a little bit too. But I think the health thing is a little bit more of that ongoing level description that describes, like when you talk about your average situation or your tendencies and stuff like that, that's more of the health aspect, which you can go into the fitness realm to address that in more of the short term.
Yeah. I mean,
develop habits, which hopefully become lifelong habits, from the fitness realm.
yeah. And habits constantly change. And that's something that you just have to adapt to. And some people can't. some people cannot adapt very quickly. And that's where they get stuck too. It's just really interesting now how it went from health and fitness now to more mental fitness, because mentally, if you're not mentally strong, you're just not moving forward in anything you're doing. It
And
really
I
does
think
get you stuck.
it's the linguistics that, you look at, what speaks to a person, get them to act. The process to action is you first got to get their attention on the thing. So you got to get their attention on mental fitness, and then you got to figure out their interest, like what are they interested in doing, and then like hitting their realm of motivation. Do they desire to really do something with this? Because you could have a great conversation or great process getting their attention and exchanging within their interests, but if that desire element isn't there, be motivated, deal with their mental fitness, like say you have products to offer, that's the idea. Is there going to be a purchase or not? If not, it may be because they're lacking desire to really address the components, so they lack the insight, value that's sitting there, that if they bring this into their regiment, they're going to achieve some outcomes, which is great. I mean, it's true fact, they'll improve in this way, but if they don't desire to do that,
There's nothing you can do about it. You have to, yeah. I've come across that a lot with training. You want somebody so bad, but unless they desire it internally, it's just not going to happen. And as a trainer, it's broken my heart many times.
You can't force anybody to do anything that they don't want to.
Right.
Really.
I sure try, right, Emily?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes they're this close too, and you're just like, come on, just a little more, and it's up to them.
Yeah, I was dealing with that in my community just earlier today. I had a meeting in January, met a couple weeks ago, and I thought I accomplished something, that the process was going to move forward. And I chose Friday to be a check-in point. We've been discussing things here at my house over the weekend, and then woke up today to say, I'm just not satisfied. And part of it is that we have an event on Wednesday. So I kind of was looking to thread in the activity of this event into this. And then the people in my community just not really giving me the response. Like I'm not seeing any plan to carry forward what I propose. So it's that old thing, if it's going to be, it's up to me. So here I am, I'm getting her done.
There you go.
Yeah,
sometimes
mental fitness.
That's all. Well, that was actually a great example, because you chose to move forward rather than moving back. But some people choose to move back rather than moving forward. So that's a great example of how you can move forward with mental fitness.
Or just staying where they are and not moving back. Either moving back or just staying where they are, not moving.
Right.
forward.
Right. I mean, I've come across that many times. I'm not gonna lie about that. I'm not perfect. And if you come across somebody who is, let me know. Kurt, don't you dare raise your hand. Come across somebody.
Somebody other than Kurt.
I had a feeling that one was coming, so I'm like, Kurt.
So you're getting it dead, Kurt?
Yeah, I kind of had that post-nuptial thing, I'd be in conversation with my wife and she'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm not perfect. And I'm like, well, where was that disclaimer when we got married,
My husband would be like, on page, no, that's not gonna work. That was not there.
Oh, man.
What happens when you've been married 25 years?
That's right.
That's what happens. So, well, thank you both for joining me today. I enjoyed the conversation. A little bit of education and some great conversation always goes a long way.
Yeah, I tend to, I have this testimonial that I tell people, yeah, it didn't totally suck. So
You didn't totally what? You phased off there.
Yeah. I just tell people, yeah, it didn't totally suck, so.
Emily, you can just
yeah, I know.
I did that to somebody in H&P. I forget what his name. I'm like, lean into the camera. Lean in there, I go. So yeah. So if you want to find me or you want to find anything about Amari, you can always go to youarehappygirl.com. And I look forward to next week.
Thank you, everybody.
It got really awkwardly quiet. That was hilarious.
All
right.
So we are here every Monday at noon p.m. Eastern. So I encourage everybody to join us. And to please check out all of our Your Happy social media and comment, like, share, and so on. So on behalf of Melanie, myself, and Kurt, and the rest of the World of Ability Podcast Network, we wish you a safe and productive week and to stay happy.